Students, today we will learn writing a letter to editors. This is a very popular question, how do we write a letter to editor? That's what we will learn today. Students, the following topics we will cover in this chapter. The first you need to know is that what is a letter to editor? Which letter are known as letters to editor actually, and then you would learn that why should you actually write a letter to the editor? What is the need? It means to say that what is their need to write a letter to the editors. And then we will cover the topic in this chapter, when should you write a letter to the editor. We will cover every topic about this kind of letter, that what is a letter to editor, and why do we need to write such letters, and when actually do we need to write such letter. And then we will also read that in which form should you write this letter, whether you should write this in email form or in normal letter form. And then we will see that how do you write a letter to the editor. That's the most important thing, because we always give examples of letter. We write a letter, we generally teach, but we never teach anyone that what's the format, how we should write that. Now students, first we will see what is a letter to editor. So actually the letters that you write to the editor of a newspaper are actually the letters of editor. And students, when you feel strongly about an issue, and when actually it's needed to write letters to editor, it's all about the opinions. Students, when you strongly feel the need of conveying something, you feel that you should convey your opinion to everyone. You should feel that this is the way you should, this is the way forward, and you should, so in that case actually you write a letter to editors, because this is the mass communication. With the help of with the help of newspaper, you can actually convey your masses across many people. So actually when you strongly feel about an issue and you want to let people know about what you think, you believe you can even influence people to take some action if you speak your mind, then you actually choose this way of writing a letter to the editor of a newspaper, editor of a popular newspaper, editor of a famous newspaper, which everyone actually read. And then but you want to reach an audience larger than just your friends or your group membership. So letter to editor can be very effective way to get the word out. So actually to convey your message to the larger audience, what to your opinion, to your feelings, if you want to convey it to a bigger opinion, to a bigger audience, to everyone, then we take the way of newspaper, because it has a longer reach. These days the means of communication are spreading day by day. We have so many different ways of actually we can use social media as. So actually student, a letter to editor is actually a way, a way of talking to a newspaper, magazine, or other regularly printed publication. Letters to the editor are generally found in the first section of the newspaper, or towards the beginning of a magazine, or in the additional page. They can take a position for or against an issue, or they simply inform, or both. They can convince readers by using emotions or facts, or emotions and facts combined. Letters to the editor are usually short and tight. Tight means to say that up to the point, and rarely longer than 300 words. It means to say that it's rarely as long as 300 words. It's more likely than not that it would be about students, a letter to the editor is a written way of talking to a newspaper, magazine, or other regularly printed publication. Letters to the editor are generally found in the first section of the newspaper, or towards the beginning of a magazine, or in the additional page. They can take a position for or against an issue, or simply inform, or both. They can convince readers by using emotions or facts, or emotions and facts combined. Letters to the editor are usually short and tight, rarely longer than 300 words. Using a few carefully placed letters, you can generate plenty of community discussion. You can also keep an issue going by preventing it from disappearing from the public eye. You can stimulate the interest of the new media and create more coverage for the matters you are working on. You can also send a good news letter to bring recognition to people who deserve it, or acknowledge the success of an effort. Students, now we will see why should you write a letter. Actually, letters to the editor are among the most widely read features in any newspaper or magazine. They allow you to reach a large audience. You can probably think of many more specific reasons why you might want to write to the editor, but here are a few general ones. But here are some of the reasons why you should write the letters. Actually, reason number one is, actually, if you are angry about something and want others also to know about that, then you actually write a letter to the editor, to express your views and desire to everyone, to reach, to share your opinions with everyone. And then if you think that an issue is so important that you should speak out about it, only then in the welfare of society or the country, if you think that something should be known to everyone, then you actually write a letter to editor. And then, as a part of your group's strategy to persuade others to take a specific action, and if you want that, an authority or the people actually in general take a particular action, just do a particular sort of thing, then to inform, to let them know, you actually write such to the editor of a particular newspaper. Actually, so in simple way, to reach the people more and more, that's the way. Or students, you can also write a letter, if you want to suggest an idea to someone and if you want to influence your thoughts over others. And actually, students, if you want to influence a public opinion, generally. And then if you want, you can also write letter to educate the general public on a specific matter. On a specific matter means to say that on a particular matter. Influence policy makers or elected official directly or indirectly. Or you can also write letter to editor to influence the officials, the big officials, who have the power to do something, such as to influence a policeman, to police commissioner, or to district collector, like that. And then you can also publicize the work of your group and attract volunteers or program participants. And you can also write such letters to attract the volunteers, or actually to attract. Now, students, we will see when should you write a letter to the editor. In which case scenario you should write a letter to the editor of a newspaper. Actually, so students, letters to the editor can be written in any time you want to say public opinion. If you want to share your opinion with public, or if you want to change the public opinion on a particular topic, then you can write a letter to the editor, because it would spread your, it would convey your opinion with the public, and tell others how you feel about people, program, or idea, or just inform the public on a certain issue. Generally, as you have learned earlier, we write such letters to inform others which you think that it's needed to be informed. And especially when on a particular people, incident, program, or ideas that you want to share. They are a great way to increase awareness of the issues that you or your organization are working for. As students, also keep in mind that if you want to inform the public or a certain action your organization is about to take, you may want to think of issuing a press release instead. So in few cases, students, instead writing a letter to the newspaper editor, you generally prefer to issuing a press release. To issue a press release means just to call the media and just give your just declare what you want to say to the public. And if newspapers consistently ignore your new release, your best choice may be a letter to the editor. So generally in the case when the newspaper is ignoring your news release, then you should write a letter to the editor. Now we will see, a student, how should you actually send, what is the method of sending. Examination, you need not to understand how should you send your letter to the editor, but for real life, for practical life, we should also know that how should you send your letter to the editor of a newspaper. The reality for virtuality every print publication is that they would prefer to get letters and other material by email. So actually the way of sending them your letter, student, is actually through email. Since everything they publish, it's set up on a computer and printed straight from software. As these days the world is computerized and everything is published directly from the computer software. What is being stored there, how has it been programmed. So you just have to send an email. Your letter should be in email form, and that is exactly why we will also learn email writing in a coming time, actually in next lessons. If you send your letter electronically, all they have to do is transfer it directly to the letter space in the software in order to print it. If you are sending online, as it happens these days, everything is done online, is being done online. So actually if you have sent your letter through email, through electronically, through electronically means to say that through online, then the newspapers would not have to struggle hard to print your letter. They will just have to transfer your letter to the letter space in the software, and then from there they would direct able to print it. Then you can still send a postal letter at the present time. Also, if you want, you can send a letter through post office, of course, but some time has to type it into the computer before it can be printed, and so it may not only arrive later than email, but may wait longer after it's received to be printed. So actually when this is not in the fashion right now, if you are sending a letter to the post office, it's an offline thing, and now most majority of the things are online. So your letter might, the first thing that it will reach later after email will reach earlier, and your letter will have to wait for more time to actually get printed. Now student, we will see actually how do you write a letter to the editor. So first you have to do, as you have seen in letter writing, that you have to start your letter with a salutation. And so actually salutation is quite an important thing, because with the correct salutation you almost get 1 mark in the examination. So you have to write to the editor of the Daily Sun. This is the name of the newspaper, Daily Sun, and then the editor. You can also write just to the editor, and if you have the editor's name, however, you should use it to increase the possibilities of your letter being read. So now if you know the name of the editor, then you can also write dear editor, and then the name of the editor. If you know, it would enhance your probability of being printed. And the main thing for a letter writer, actually student, is actually to grabbing the attention of the reader. Whoever is reading that, you will have to grab the attention of the reader. Only then the reader and many people will read it, if they are interested in that. If they are not interested, then it would be difficult for them even to read. Now student, we will see, explain what the letter is about at the start. What the topic you are writing about the letter, you will have to actually explain that topic, the main topic about which you are writing the letter. You will have to mention that even in the at the very beginning of the letter. Throughout your letter, you keep in mind in this rule that be quick. You do not have to stretch anything, just keep up to the point. In formal letters, student, we always need to be up to the point. We cannot stretch the issue. And be concise, and then be quiet. Just being clear, being practical, be short, and just try to write quietly. Do not use aggressive words. Now student, tomorrow we will see further some other rules, and then we will actually try to I will try to show you through a demonstration how generally do we write formal letters.